أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله على خير خلقه محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين، ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى قيام يوم الدين. Even today the Muslims know very little of their Prophet's history, peace be upon him and his pure family. Therefore, they believe he died a natural death, but in fact, he had been assassinated. This fact should not come as a surprise to anyone, given the fact that the Holy Quran had predicted it clearly in chapter Al-Imran, as Allah the Almighty said, وَمَا مُحَمَّدٌ إِلَّا رَسُولٌ قَدْ خَلَتْ مِنْ قَبْلِهِ الرُّسُلُ أفإن مات أو قتل انقلبتم على أعقابكم ومن ينقلب على عقبيه فلن يضر الله شيئا وسيجزي الله الشاكرين. And Muhammad is no more than a messenger. Many were the messengers that passed away before him. If then he died or is killed, will you then turn back upon your heels? And whoever turns back upon his heels, not the least harm will he do to Allah, and Allah will reward the grateful. Let's pay particular attention to this section. If then he died or is killed, it confirms that the Prophet, peace be upon him and his pure family, would not die a natural death. Rather, it confirms that he would be killed. The conjunctive or in this verse means rather. In Arabic, sometimes or indicates uncertainty and probability. In other contexts, it imparts correction. Since it is next to impossible that anyone should suspect Allah's word, since he has insight into the unknown, Allah must have intended to impart the other meaning. Accordingly, the meaning of the verse is, if he died, rather he is killed, you turn upon your heels. By analogy, Allah said in chapter As-Saffat, speaking of Prophet Yunus, peace be upon him, وَأَرْسَلْنَاهُ إِلَى مِئَةِ أَلْفٍ أَوْ يَزِيدُونَ, and we sent him to 100,000, or they exceeded. That is, and we sent him to 100,000, rather they exceeded. In hadiths, even those reported by the Bakri sect, it is confirmed that the Prophet, peace be upon him and his pure family, was martyred. For example, Ahmad ibn Hanbal, At-Tabarani, and As-Sana'ani, among other great scholars of the Bakri sect, reported Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, a companion to Allah's Prophet, saying, لَأَنْ أَحْلِفَ تِسْعًا أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم قتل قتلا أحب إلي من أن أحلف واحدة أنه لم يقتل وذلك بأن الله جعله نبيا واتخذه شهيدا. I am willing to take an oath 9 times that the Prophet was murdered, but I am not willing to take an oath even once that he was not. This is because Allah made him a prophet and a martyr as well. How then was the Prophet murdered? And who were the perpetrators of such a heinous crime? In fact, it is from this point that the paths of the Shiites and the Bakri sect diverge. While Bakri sect claim that the Prophet was poisoned by the Jews, Shiites stress that he was poisoned by his two wives, Aisha and Hafsa, as commanded by their fathers, Abu Bakr and Umar. Let us take a look at the evidence of each party to decide which one is true. Bakr sect says that when the Prophet's army won the Khaybar battle, defeating the army of the Jews, a Jewish woman, Zainab bint al-Harith, invited him and his companions to a banquet. That woman wanted to take revenge upon the Prophet because her brother, Marhab ibn al-Harith, who was commander of the Jewish army, had been killed by Imam Ali, peace be upon him, and this had led to the victory of the Muslim army. The Jewish leaders used the woman's desire to take revenge and goaded her into assassinating the Prophet. She poisoned the meat she cooked for the Prophet and his fellows. The Prophet died after having the poisoned meat. This is the belief of Bakri sect, but it can easily be refuted by the following scientific evidence. Firstly, the Khaybar battle took place in the 7th year of Hijrah, while the Prophet, peace be upon him and his pure family, died in the 11th year. This means that there is a time gap of 4 years between the two incidents. It is very unlikely that a person dies because a poison he had taken so many years ago. It is also because generally the effect of poison is immediate, and even if it takes time, it cannot exceed a few months, in which the health condition deteriorates gradually. In the case of the Prophet, we notice that he had been in the peak of his health, and throughout the said 4 years he had no unusual health complaints. He would participate in the battles to defend Muslims as usual. Thus, it defies any logic that his health deteriorated suddenly and he died of a poison he had taken more than 4 years ago, despite the fact that he enjoyed good health throughout the intervening period. Secondly, if we accept that the Prophet, peace be upon him and his pure family, consumed the poisoned food, it will be a proof of his not being a true prophet. May Allah forbid. This is because it was the Jews and the women who wanted to put the Prophet under trial by means of their scheme. Is he truly a prophet who gets revelation from Allah? If he was a prophet, he would know that this food was poisoned and would not consume it. If not, he would consume it. Authentic hadiths provide that the Prophet, peace be upon him and his pure family, knew it and did not consume the food. He admonished his retinue not to consume it either. This was one of his miracles, due to which the Jewish woman was so impressed that she converted to Islam. For that, she earned the Prophet's forgiveness and exemption from punishment.